Somebody asked me why I am so overprotective of people in the spiritual community. And that's because I believe that spirituality and victimization across the board, not just in like the woo woo community, but even in churches and religions, it's just, it's a pipeline to powerless. I remember the day that I realized my grandmother, who I really love her, I honor her, I respect her memory. She's one of my favorite people that ever existed. I also know that my grandmother was a very fearful person. And where our religion, the one that she raised me up in, was meant to be fearless. We were meant to be conquerors and all these things. She was just very fearful. And a lot of her beliefs and a lot of the ways that she saw things and thought, it made this woman, I mean, she was 6 foot tall, like this big, bold woman, small and frail until the end. There was something about the way that she was brought up in her case, it was like Southern Baptist Church, that made her believe her life was what it was and it would never be anything different. In spite of the fact that in the very book she believed in so deeply, it said the opposite, as much as it said that bad things would happen. It was a choice, right? And I always ask, especially now, who benefits from that? Who benefits from people in the church or people in the new age or even new thought, where we've got like motivational speakers and stuff like that? Who benefits from us believing that we are powerless? There's something about spirituality in the new time, in this current era, and like the social media spirituality, that it can cause people to identify as a victim. And constantly identifying as a victim can really block empowerment. And empowerment is huge for those who are awakening into their true purpose. Healing work requires accountability, not just affirmations. And when we play the victim, it actually allows us to fully remove accountability from ourselves. When we walk around in a spiritual space and just say things that deep in our hearts we know they're not true. I'm not talking about affirmations in the sense of I am sovereign. I believe in myself, right? That's saying that can shift your thinking. It really can work. But saying like I'm a millionaire and then just walking around, I believe there's a lot more work that goes into becoming something beyond your affirmation. The affirmation is just the first part. The affirmation, if we think about the laws of the universe, the law that we are looking at, the law of manifestation, the affirmation is step one. And what we'll see is that sometimes over spiritualizing pain can delay real world solutions. And I'm not talking about the people who think that all the things happening with their body are somebody else. Because sometimes it can be worrisome to hear someone say that and to kind of think, wait, you have A, B, and C? Oh, that sounds like a very specific health malady, but you can't say anything because you don't know. But I'm also talking about the real world solution. Like, I'm in pain because I'm in poverty. So I'm going to speak an affirmation that I'm a millionaire and I'm just going to believe. Well, in doing that, there could be a real path out of poverty, right? But you're not taking it because someone taught you that if you just say something, that's enough. Again, I'm not here to pick on affirmations or anything like that. This is not about any specific problem or area of spirituality. It is how charlatans and crooks use spirituality to create victims. And whether that's a reader or a pastor, it doesn't matter. Bad people are everywhere, and some choose to enter holy spaces, sacred spaces, and manipulate people. I think another really huge lie out there is that empaths are destined to suffer, that empaths, they just feel so deeply, and they only attract the worst kinds of people because that's their job, to heal them and all this stuff. And it's like, that is categorically untrue. The first problem I have with that is this belief that the gift of empathy is not something that can be honed and controlled over time. It bothers me how many spiritual gifts are spoken about as these wild creatures that just take over. That's not a gift. If someone brought me a Tasmanian devil, I don't want, I don't know what to do. And really, let's just be honest, I don't know how to take care of this thing. And if something happens to it, I'm going to be the one that feels sad about it. So this is not a gift. Your spiritual gifts are things that you would want, things that you can use, things that fit your life. So to tell someone like an empath, for instance, that you are just going to suffer for the rest of your life, instead of saying, hey, you are meant to grow stronger. And now that you know who and what you are, there's a path forward. Here is the first few steps. Okay, you got to get control. And then maybe you get here and you got to practice it a little bit. Okay, and then in the future, here is what an empowered empath does. But there's not enough people doing that. Or they put it behind a $10,000 paywall. Look, victimhood becomes identity when it's not processed. Freedom is an integration. And some people keep us so confused that we can't process anything properly. There's nothing to integrate. We don't know what's happening. We just know we're a part of something, and it feels kind of crazy, and that feels kind of good. But in the end, when you look back, and you realize that, yes, in a way, you are a victim. Maybe you've been doing, a lot of the victimization, that kind of stuff. But after a while, you do become a victim of your own choices and ultimately of this predator that saw you, saw your gifts, saw how special and powerful you were, and either said, there's no way in hell I'm letting that person grow up, or they said, there's no way that I'm going to let that person out of my clutches. If I can't have what they have, then I'll control it through them. I'm overprotective because I have seen for almost 10 years how people in the spiritual space do very specific things to trick people, to manipulate people, to drain people's bank accounts. And being privy to that had me looking at the Christian world that I grew up in going, oh, it's everywhere. Same tactics, different thing. Scripture instead of a tarot card. A singing bowl instead of a gospel song. Whatever it is, I'm telling you, it's everywhere. But you, in your divine wisdom, are stronger than all of it. Ask yourself, is there anywhere I have become a victim? Is there anywhere that I feel powerless, helpless, hopeless? And how did I get there? Why, knowing what I know about the vast power, the greatness of divine, why do I still feel like this? Good luck.